Jimmy Kimmel, known to almost everyone in the United States, is the man who goes on air every day and pokes fun at everything that moves. But this time, he didn't just deliver a funny punchline or a sharp retort. He completely destroyed two people who are hard to miss in the media: Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And it wasn't just light trolling. It was such a harsh attack that even the audience in the studio seemed to forget for a second that they were watching an evening entertainment show. Kimmel spoke about Trump with a bluntness that is usually heard in the kitchen, but not on screen. He reminded him of everything, from his self-obsessed statements to his absurd posts on the internet.
Elon is having a heck of a week. Tesla sales are down all over the world. Yesterday, Tesla had its biggest drop in 5 years. Elon Musk lost almost $30 billion in stock value yesterday. He may have to fire himself. Things are going so poorly. This is not a good time to own a...
Then he moved on to Musk. He didn't stand on ceremony here either. He ran through his strange interviews, sudden decisions, and attempts to appear like a guy with the people, despite having billions in the bank. And then something happened that few expected. Elon Musk, who usually tries to keep a straight face and laugh things off, couldn't hold back this time.
The ones providing the money, the ones pushing the lies and propaganda, we're going after them.
He responded, and not just, well, that's funny, good for you, but with resentment, with attacks in response, as if he had been personally offended. And from that moment on, everything took off. The video with Kimmel's comments spread across the internet, as did Musk's response, and now it's no longer just an episode of a late-night show, but a topic of discussion across the entire internet. And it all started like this. Tesla is not having the best of times. Sales have plummeted, not just in one region but worldwide. The company's shares have crashed, and not just a little, but to a 5-year low. In monetary terms, this means billions of dollars lost in just a few hours. Naturally, attention immediately turned to Elon Musk. Everyone waited to see what he would say, how he would react, and whether he would take any action.
So much so that President Trump today took it upon himself to announce he will be buying a Tesla, even though he's not allowed to drive it.
And then, like a bolt from the blue, Donald Trump appeared. And not with some kind of official statement or criticism. No, right on the grounds of the White House, but not inside the building, in the courtyard. He organized a kind of Tesla car exhibition. It's all very serious. There are cars on the site, a crowd of journalists, security guards, flags, and he shows the journalists the new models, handing out cards with prices and specifications, just like a car dealer. And then he announces that he, yes, personally, is buying a Tesla.
I said, I don't like what's happened to you. I'm going to do it. I didn't even know he was going to come. He's never asked me for anything. He endorsed me, and he never asked me. I didn't even know he was going to endorse me. The guy has never asked me. He's not saying, in fact, I could go a step further. I ended the electric mandate.
It sounds like some kind of strange performance, but it all looked quite serious. Cameras, press, comments. Of course, there are more questions than answers. Why is he doing this? Why all this love for Tesla right now, when the company is in trouble? Is this an attempt to support Musk? Or on the contrary, is he using the moment for some kind of political or personal show? At that point, no one understood where this was leading. But then things got really interesting. That evening, Jimmy Kimmel went on air with his show Jimmy Kimmel Live. And this is how he started.
Since Donald Trump took office, and so far it has been much worse than I think anyone thought it would.
Kimmel brought up the topic of Trump's unexpected support for Musk. And then came what was perhaps the most memorable line of the evening. He accuses the president of using Tesla's decline as an opportunity for a cheap show. Kimmel, of course, didn't miss a beat and immediately picked up on the theme with his characteristic sarcasm. He ridicules Trump, calling his actions yet another example of how you can turn any situation to your advantage, even if it means exploiting other people's problems. You see, it all looks like a show bordering on the absurd. Trump as the host, trying to sell the idea that he has everything under control against the backdrop of a crisis, while also drawing attention to himself. And this exaggerated support for Tesla became the perfect topic for Kimmel to poke fun at. It's funny, but at some point it even starts to seem like all this is not just a coincidence, but a premeditated PR stunt.
Wow, this is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
Kimmel doesn't hold back and smoothly moves on to deeper contradictions in Trump's politics. He reminded viewers how, not so long ago, Trump never missed an opportunity to criticize electric cars. We remember his statements when he openly opposed all these battery-powered oddities, calling them unreliable and expensive toys for the rich.
On day one, I will terminate Crooked Joe's ridiculous electric vehicle mandate. They're very expensive and they can all be made in China. They don't work in the cold and they don't go far. Other than that, I think they're wonderful. Let's drive down and get some potatoes from Idaho. Well, sir, that'll be about 6 stops. If you want to drive down to the store to buy clothing or if you want to do something locally, that's fine. But these cars don't go very far. And they're very expensive. And what we're going to do is you're going to have an electric vehicle if you want it. And it's good for short trips like to the candy store and back. And if you
Man who runs our country just said a Tesla. Said everything's computer.
Kimmel mocks how Trump has changed his views throughout his career depending on the political situation. And this time he is doing so with particular gusto. What an amazing transformation. One day we're against electric cars, the next we're buying Tesla. It seems that something is wrong with Trump's principles after all. Or maybe it's just a new way to sell his new political position. Funny, isn't it? The man who called electric cars a total failure is now buying them. He just criticized them, and now he's supporting them on a white horse. Who would have thought that his words about electric cars would one day become part of the same circus as his political maneuvers? According to insiders, it was this joke that really got under Musk's skin. He didn't take it as a humor, but as a real mockery of his position, business, and personal reputation. Musk apparently did not understand where satire ends and a real threat to his image begins. He believed that Kimmel was not just joking, but siding with those who want to destroy Tesla at the most vulnerable moment in its history.
We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly.
After the broadcast, according to unconfirmed reports, Elon Musk held a closed meeting with Tesla's PR department. The agenda, of course, included the question of how to respond to Kimmel's attack. Although the details of this meeting have not been disclosed, sources indicate that Musk is determined not to simply ignore the incident, but to find a way to respond. The question was not only how to respond publicly, but also how to defend a reputation that, at that moment, seemed more vulnerable than ever. While Musk remains silent, social media is ablaze. Comments are divided into 2 camps. Some believe that Kimmel was right, that it was just a joke intended to satirize and expose the absurdity of the situation. Others are convinced that the host went too far and is just someone looking for an excuse to get some easy hype at someone else's expense. It all looked like a vivid example of how easily public opinion can be divided, especially when it comes to such high-profile figures as Musk and Trump.
Cars is preposterous. And by the way, while our president is selling Teslas, he's also trying to buy green.
But what is most important is the reaction of the president himself. Officially, Trump has not commented on Kimmel's monologue. He somehow managed not to get involved in this conflict publicly, not to stir up unnecessary agitation. However, sources close to the White House say that he found it all amusing. Apparently, the president perceived all the fuss as another attempt by the comedian to cash in on a topic that, in his opinion, does not deserve such attention. For Trump, this was most likely just another episode that could be laughed off without delving into the details. But still, there remains a feeling that the president is hiding something. Perhaps his silence hides not just ignorance, but a cunning plan for revenge that may soon come to light. Trump is known for his tendency not to ignore those who dare to criticize him, and Kimmel, as one of the most popular comedians in the US, is no exception. Of course, Trump, as a politician with extensive experience, can afford not to engage in public altercations, but who's to say he can't be secretly preparing a counterattack? It's quite possible that the president's silence is not just a tactical move, but part of a larger game. Let's not forget that Trump has used similar situations to his advantage on more than one occasion. For example, when he failed to deflect criticism at first, he sometimes acted through allies, creating additional news stories or even trying to discredit his opponents through other channels. So it is possible that behind his mask of calm and indifference, he is already preparing his next move.
People are worried, even some people who voted for you saying, I didn't sign up for this. How do you answer those concerns?
Well, they did sign up for it. We're going to be a tariff nation. We're going to put tariffs. 100, 200, 2,000% tariff. 100% tariff. Tariff! My favorite word. Tariff! The most beautiful word is the word tariff. Music to my ears. And it's a tax that doesn't affect our country.
Since Kimmel touched not only on Trump but also on Musk himself, who in this case became a kind of ally, it is quite possible that Trump could use the situation to undermine him as well. Amid all these contradictions, Trump may find a way to emphasize how Musk, as part of the tech elite, is willing to make concessions and support him in the most unexpected situations.
And then it was time for Elon to show off his newest creation, the dumpster on wheels known as the Cybertruck.
This is bulletproof.
I mean, look.
In private conversations, Musk reportedly called the appearance of Tesla cars in the White House a bad move. And to be honest, it's hard to disagree with him. After all, Tesla has always been associated with progressive technology, innovation, and environmental awareness. It was a brand that showcased a future focused on sustainability and high technology. But suddenly these cars are closely associated with a politician known for his unpredictability, harsh statements, and, to put it mildly, skepticism about the environment.
Isn't it shocking how much violence and hatred is coming from the left?
Musk has essentially found himself in a very difficult situation. On the one hand, Trump could generate additional interest in his products, but on the other hand, it all looks like a strange partnership. It's as if Tesla has suddenly found itself in bed with someone who opposes its core values, and such symbolic moments can backfire. All of this, of course, somewhat contradicts the idea of a company that has built its image as a bright symbol of a new, clean, and technological future.
I think I can be helpful in conflicts. I try to take the set of actions that are most likely to improve the probability that the future will be.
This is not political rocket science. You can kind of see what's happening. Special acknowledgement, the applause, alluding to going but not being pushed out. Stay as long as you want. There's actually more to that under law, which I'll explain in our report. But we have evidence that Musk is planning to get back to his day job or other business.
Now, Elon Musk's team is actively working on a new image project aimed at distancing Tesla from politics as much as possible and restoring the company's status as an independent technology leader. Musk wants his brand to be associated with innovation again, not political games. But this will be far from easy, especially when your car is advertised by someone who is effectively banned from driving, and when one of the country's most popular comedians mocks your business on live television.
I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it. I'm going to let people at the place use it, and they all are all excited about that. I'm not allowed to use it. Can you believe it?
The problem is that Tesla, which has always positioned itself as a brand of the future, suddenly finds itself associated with figures who raise too many controversies and questions. So breaking this alliance between politics and innovation is no easy task. To get the company back on track as a pure technology leader, Musk will not only have to change public perception, but also build a completely new image that will resonate with a wider audience without reference to political favorites or old enemies. One broadcast, one monologue, and a whole storm around two of America's most prominent figures. Musk is a billionaire who has lost tens of billions. Trump is a president who advertises an electric car he doesn't believe in. Kimmel is a comedian who, with a single monologue, set off a chain of events whose consequences we will see in the coming weeks.
Have you ever apologized? Ever in your lifetime?
I fully think apologizing is a great thing, but you have to be wrong if you're not wrong. Like, for instance, they wanted me to apologize because I brought up illegal immigration. But ultimately, it turned out I was right on it, but I will absolutely apologize sometime in the hopefully distant future if I'm ever wrong.
This incident has become more than just a topic for an evening show. It is a real news story that will continue to unfold. Musk, his business, Trump with his unconventional antics, and Kimmel, who may not have even realized the impact his joke would have. All of these characters are now embroiled in a story that will affect their images, businesses, and even politics. Stay tuned. This is just the beginning.